Audi murders once again in the 12 hours of Sebring. We've got Obama spending $2.4 billion on electric car research, and Leo the Suit's back on the program. I'm Matt Farah. This is Garage 419. Leo the Suit.
Hey.
12 hours of Sebring.
You got it.
It's a long race. How many hours did you watch?
I watched everything on TV, and then they got this thing called the internet, so I think I kind of caught all 12.
12 hours wasn't enough. You had to go to the internet afterwards.
Went to the internet.
I went just to the internet, and I watched highlight clips, and that's okay, but Audi kicking ass with the R15.
Audi is God. I mean, let's be serious.
Audi's God.
Audi is God. Every time they build a new car, they win. R15, most competition there, they won. Peugeot's like the worst traits of Obama and A-Rod combined.
Let's hear that one.
Okay, Obama, he never reacts.
Peugeot, they don't like adjust their strategy during the race.
That's my point. They lost Le Mans, they lost Petit, and last time at Sebring, they lost for the same reason. Everyone knew Audi was setting up for the end. They didn't react to it. They lost the race.
It's like they have a really good car and a really terrible team.
Strategy.
Yeah.
And that's where Audi is profoundly sharp. They've got a plan. They build it into the car. They build it into the race. You did the Truth in 24.
The Truth in 24.
That's the whole story.
If that showed one thing, it's like how prepared Audi is for every possible scenario, and the fact that they can react really quick to that kind of thing, and that's why they win.
Look, racing, you know, everyone talks about the body parts of the driver and all these technologies. It comes together with a plan. Some get it, Audi, some don't. The epic fails of this weekend, BMW, which I love.
Yeah, those M3s got thrashed. They were done.
Well, they didn't get thrashed. Bobby Rahal did an interview and talked about how it was an oil tank crack, and then they went to the videotape, the in-car, and you heard the motor detonate.
So it's like the oil tank was cracked because a piston went through it.
Something like that, yeah. Mazda had the same problem, and Acura, quite frankly, all that sim work, all the development they did, the hydraulic power steering is not ready for that car.
Well, they qualified on pole. What happened?
Great lap. They're using 4 rear tires for the front for the car. Four rear tires.
4 wide tires, basically.
So they've got 7 to 10% more grip. They're making the time in the corner, but they're using their IRL motor.
Sebring's got a real long back straight,
which is why they were never going to hold that pole position.
Yeah, and the back straight turns into the front straight.
Yep.
So if you can't carry that speed all the way around and then out to the end of the front straight, you're done there.
Well, you watch the race, and you could see part of the corner. The Acura would dominate the corner. But coming off the corner, it was all Peugeot and Audi ultimately.
Well, those diesels make big power. And then the GT class, actually, Ferrari kind of cleaned house a bit.
Ferrari was 1 and 2. Risi is another team that has their act together. And Porsche, their new factories with Farnborough and Flying Lizard.
Yeah. They got the 911 RSR, brand new car. It really didn't put up a very good showing.
I think 2 things. I think, one, the car is okay, but they limited the restrictor, which means now you're going to make horsepower on RPM. An 8-cylinder RPM is going to make more power at a higher rev than a 6-cylinder normally aspirated Porsche.
Flat motor, yeah.
Plus, poor Bergmeister, if that's his name.
Yeah, Jörg Bergmeister.
Okay, this guy can't get through a Sebring without whacking something. And he got into an early race accident, and that set them back. But the Porsche teams were just not ready for this race. Farnbacher and Lizards were overmatched.
Well, it should be an interesting Le Mans, let's say that to say the least. The 24 hours. They got a huge grid for 24 hours of Le Mans. It's stacked up, so
55 cars, not as many Ferraris as you'd think. It's a big Porsche festival, but you know, you go to Sebring for durability.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, like you mentioned, there are straightaways. I think it's a Ferrari show this year.
My money is on Audi to win it all at Le Mans. Let's move along, though. Obama has okayed this $2.4 billion of taxpayer money for electric cars and the research and components that go along with it. And I'll break it down. $1.5 billion for battery technology, $500 million for other components like motors and transistors and capacitors and whatever else, and $400 million for infrastructure and research. I think this is a bad idea.
Why?
Because I don't think spending our money. First of all, I don't think electric cars are going to save the planet. I don't. I think hydrogen is. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that electric cars can be convenient enough to use as our overall mode of transportation.
Well, the money he's invested here. Oh, and by the way, if we think about it, with all the money being spent, we're bringing back American motors. Okay, my point is, the money they're spending here, I know, bad. The money they're spending here is to test the infrastructure.
Yeah.
You may be right. I don't care what powers my car. I don't care where the power comes from. I just want it to drive fast and well and good. If it's
I don't want a golf
hybrid,
cart. I want a car, not a golf cart. That's my real problem.
So it's the reciprocating motor feely thing you want.
I need some more feedback than that. And I don't like the idea of not being able to drive all the way across the country in the same amount of time that it would take me in a gas car, because you have to stop overnight and charge and
But you don't know that, and didn't we read that there's something coming on with battery recharging that's going to be quicker? And,
it will be.
If there are fuel stations and they're electric versus some type of liquid, really?
If someone proves to me that works, I will go along with it.
Well, he's trying to make the investment to find out if it's there.
Well, investment in research is fine, but I wish that $2.4 billion went into hydrogen infrastructure, so which is ready to go and doesn't need research. It just needs implementation.
We talked about this before, and I do agree with you. There's something going on why they're not pushing that. The same something going on. Why don't we have more diesels in this country right now?
Ugh,
right?
California. Okay. Can't stand California. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's going to happen when the automakers cut out their motorsports programs and the tuners are going to have to step up and take over. Stick around.
This week on WePC TV.
I headed out onto the street to talk to people directly about how computers affect their lives today and what the future holds for our PCs.
Well, I had this idea, actually, where you put on like these glasses and then it has like a digital overlay of the real world.
WePC TV is brought to you by ASUS and Intel. You dream it, ASUS builds it, Intel inside.
So here's the problem.
Yep.
With the collapse of the car business, it seems like the first thing to go on everyone's list is the performance division.
This amazes me. Keep going.
We've got BMW saying no new M Roadster. We've got no Z28 Camaro.
Right.
GM saying all the Saturn red lines and all the performance division
gone.
Stuff is gone.
Someone find me the next Corvette. It ain't
C7
happening.
Corvette on hold indefinitely. Audi's talking, everyone's going smaller engines, forced induction, et cetera, et cetera. This isn't really news. But what's interesting is, the aftermarket, the tuners have been hurt by this whole thing because everyone's cutting out their budget. Except if there's no more factory performance divisions, I think these tuners are going to step in and take some of the lead in the new stuff.
I'm with you. I mean, the factories have tried to become the performance division. And
well, they started out, remember when M and AMG were separate companies?
And Ford SVO, and even Chevy, did a Cobalt tuner car.
Well, there were Yankos and stuff like that back in the
back
day.
then. Yeah, in my day. But they tried. Some of them were good, some of them not so good. Everyone loves to personalize their car.
Yeah.
And when you get into driving and handling and tuning, the door's wide open. So I would assume that if everyone takes a breath, SEMA and all those companies have a real opportunity here.
Yeah.
Because to your point, people still love to drive.
What's really funny is BMW, by example, is they're getting rid of the M Roadster, right? But they've got this new Z4. It's going to have the twin turbo 6 in it.
Okay.
So, but you're going to be able to get all the leather and the nav and you know what I mean? People they think that people aren't going to want to spend money for the top performance package, but they have no problem spending money on nav and gadgetry. I say I'd rather have a stripped out cloth seat, no nav version of the M Roadster than a Z4 with a bunch of options on it.
Well, you must be talking to the Hyundai Genesis Coupe people, because they're doing a couple of those.
See, they know what's going on. The track packs. That's the other thing, actually. Track packs are becoming an option on lower models. The Mustang GT and the Cadillac CTSs you can get track packs on, which is interesting.
Not everything has to be a family sedan-minded car.
Yeah.
I mean, Nissan gets a hit because their steering is still too soft. If you're going to build a performance car, set the platform for it, and then let the person do their thing.
But as far as like a tuner car, like would you buy a Roush or a Saleen Mustang or a Hennessy Viper or something that comes pre-aftermarket tuned?
Well, despite the suit, I'm the type of person that wants to personalize it, so I'd want to build it myself. There's also the warranty issue that somewhere that needs to be addressed. Now the factory relationship with like a Roush and a Saleen have addressed that, but that's one of the issues. But I think it comes down to if there's a mentality with young people now about plug and play and personalizing their thing, well, that's what's going to happen with cars. Yeah. Do I want my Ford Fiesta, whatever the heck it's going to be just like yours? No. Now, Scion kind of touched on it, but it was all kind of like the look and the feel. We're talking about driving cars.
We need to do it with performance. Yeah. What I think should happen is some of these aftermarket companies should get in together with the automakers to be able to sell complete aftermarket tuned cars in the dealers with warranties. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have, so you don't get to say another word.
And that's good.
I want to hear what you guys think. Leave a comment below. How should this relationship between tuners and automakers work? That is our question of the day. And I will see you on Thursday, because this Thursday's special episode, racing a Dodge Challenger to Washington, D.C. against JF on a plane and Tom the fake German on a train.
This week on WePC
What if you erased like FDR's identity? So it's like there was a president here,
and it has the yearbook photo with the question mark, just the cartoon like.
If I could erase anybody's identity, anyone, it would either be Katy Perry or the Fred guy from YouTube.
WePC is brought to you by ASUS and Intel. You dream it, ASUS builds it, Intel inside.